This is going... Alright, so welcome everybody. A very special episode 29 of Cockles of the Heart. And today's guest, we have my beautiful, sweet mother. I call her Mommy, but everyone else calls her Anna. Anna, introduce yourself. Where are you from?
Montana. Anna from Montana.
Anna, Montana, before Hannah, Montana became a thing.
Yeah.
So, why are you here?
We're here to visit you. Make sure you're still doing good.
Good. How was your flight? You guys took a Legion over here.
It was good.
Yeah, and you came here with Dad.
Yeah.
And why didn't Dad start the interview? Is he a little nervous?
A little nervous.
A little nervous, yeah.
To see how it goes
for
me first.
Yeah, I thought he'd have a little stage fright, so I was going to do both interviews tonight, but he started getting cold feet. Didn't want to do it. He wanted to sit in here and watch us do this interview to see how it goes, and obviously that'd be too awkward and weird, so we're going to do this interview. I'm going to show him the video of the interview, show him that it's not as scary as it seems. I feel like he thinks I'm going to interrogate him and be like, tell me the secrets you never told me as a child, that kind of thing. So, but obviously we're not going to do that. So, this is my little book where I write all my jokes, all my notes, all my podcast stuff. Lane said it looks like the notebook that Jesus carried around to keep track of stuff. So, well, why don't you tell them what we did today?
Forgot already. Oh, we went goofy golfing. It was fun.
Goofy golfing.
Well, that's what we always called it. In my day.
It's usually mini golfing.
In my day, we called it goofy golfing.
Yeah.
Okay.
The way we golf is goofy.
We did some mini golfing.
We did.
And it was really fun. It was really cool.
Putt Shack. It was pretty fun. Yeah, super high tech.
And I won.
Yeah, she wins. She's very humble about it.
I just had to mention that I won. I barely won, but I won.
You did.
I don't win often. So
yeah, you got that one hole in one that got us all. So.
Yeah.
That was fun. And then we were watching Whistle and Diesel videos this morning before we left. What do you think of that guy?
It makes me anxious. I just can't understand spending that much money on something and just to destroy it.
Would it hurt your feelings if I told you that? I would love if that was my life.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Totally love to just buy stuff and beat the hell out of it.
Yeah. Well, and I was just going to say, and I don't understand what kind of people would watch something like that.
Oh, me.
I didn't say it because...
I buy cars and beat the crap out of them anyway, and I'm broke, so I couldn't imagine having all the money in the world and being able to do it. So the thing about my notebook here is that when I think of an idea, it leaves my brain super quickly.
You got that from me.
I just whip it open and then write it down and then forget where I put it. So I got it in here. I remember. It's this section, I think. But, and then where did we go after that? ML Rose.
Yeah, ML Rose. Yeah. It was good.
It's pretty good. Mom was drinking all the beers. We had to stop her for a second.
Hard to get through my sweet tea.
So, first note I have.
Oh no.
Tell me about the day you guys met. Like, where did you meet? Explain out. So I'm trying to open the door. It's probably the cat.
The very first time I met him?
Yeah, very first time you met him. Like, where were you at? What did it lead up to?
Okay. So the very first time I met him, we were at school in college at MSU in Montana, and we both lived in the dorm, and you could get a meal ticket, what they call a meal ticket, or meal pass, I guess. And my meal pass was 1 meal a day.
Yeah. So how much was that? Like 50 cents?
I don't remember. It was part of the tuition, and that's all I could afford, and that's all I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. Well, of course, he had unlimited meal pass.
Yeah.
So I was kind of whining it to my aunt, who's also my age and was going to MSU.
Aunt Kelly?
The Aunt Kelly. Mm-hmm. that I was eating by myself, and it felt weird eating all by myself in the cafeteria full of people. And so she said, "Oh, my friend Christy, my friend Christy eats at the same time that you eat. You should just eat with her, or she will eat with you, or whatever." So I was like, "Okay, well, I know Christy. I'll go hang out with her." So we went to lunch. I told her, "Let me know when you're gonna eat lunch. I'll come down and eat with you." So we, got our food and everything, cafeteria, went to sit down, and she goes, "Oh, there's Blake. Let's go sit by him. He's so funny. He's so nice." So we went and sat by Blake, and I sat right across from him, and she sat next to me. And the whole time I just ate. And I thought, oh my gosh, he's so cute, and he is funny. But they talked the whole time, and I never said a word. And come to find out later, she had a crush on him. But he'd seen me in the cafeteria, because he pretty much spent all his time in the cafeteria.
Yeah.
And so I don't remember, he asked my name, or asked her my name, and ended up calling me, because back then you could just ask at the front desk for somebody's phone number and they patch you through. So he called me in my dorm room.
I just imagine one of those
and started talking to me.
Operator, and they're like,
yeah, it was kind of like that. Yeah, it's kind of like that. Only
you didn't ask for his Instagram or anything?
No, there was no such thing.
There's no such thing as
back in the day
internet
when people had real conversations and in-person dates. And
write a message on a rock and throw it through the window.
Yeah, we didn't even do that. So he called me and asked, I think he just talked to me. I think he asked me if I wanted to meet him at the library, because it was like finals week or something. I don't remember. Anyway, we ended up. I told my friend Kelly, my Aunt Kelly, that I met this really cool guy, and he was really nice, and he was really cute, and he called me, and his name was Blake, and she said, "Oh no, Christy has a crush on him." And I was like, "Whoa."
It's mine now.
Yeah. So I said, "Well, he invited
sucks.
me to come study with him, so I thought I would meet him there and we'll study." And so I said, "You know what? I told him, I said, I feel really bad because I think Christy likes you, and that's why we sat with you."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Well, I don't have any interest in Christy." And I was like, "Okay, good." So the rest of the time, for a long time before she finally gave up on him, we snuck around and dated our dates were at the library, and the sub ballroom, and the lounge room and all that. So we tried to be nice to Christy, but at the same time, we were dating.
And it's crazy. Like, I am definitely my dad's son, because I have had that happen so many times to me. Like church camp all the time. That was like where, like, I'm sure you heard all the jokes from the youth pastors and stuff, but that's where I was like the ladies' man, was church camp. I go to school in Bozeman, nobody would even look at me. Go to church camp, everybody wants me. And it always turned out at the beginning of the week, I'd be just nice to somebody, and they would take it the wrong way, and I was actually like being nice to them because I really liked their friend, so I like got into the group by talking to them and going in. And it was the same thing. We were like, I'd be like, "Oh, I really like you," and they'd be like, "Well, my friend really likes you, so I can't do this." And I'm like, so that's funny. Yeah, definitely inherited that. And it's always so awkward. Like, were you guys friends after that, you and Christy?
Yeah,
or was
we're
it
still friends. Yeah. It was kind of awkward for a while, but then she found a boyfriend.
Yeah, once they find somebody else, it's chill.
We didn't hang out together, but we saw each other in the dorm.
Yeah, because it wasn't really your friend; it was Aunt Kelly's friend, kind of a deal.
Right.
Wasn't
well,
it? More her friend.
It was more Aunt Kelly's friend, and I knew her through Kelly. Yeah. And I think Dad and Christy were good enough friends that even after she realized that he wasn't interested in her other than a friend,
she wasn't like
they were still good friends. Yeah, because they still are. He sees her every once in a while, and he knows her husband, and so it wasn't too awkward for too long. But
I've never heard that story.
Oh well.
I know you guys met in school, but that was it.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. For a couple of months at least, we kind of hung out in the library and met, in the cafeteria and that kind of stuff.
Was the library in the same spot, Reed Hall? Because Reed Hall's the library. It's just weird that you guys met on the college campus that I went to. No, it was like in the
same building as the ballroom, the sub.
It was like a little log cabin with like a fireplace and stuff.
No.
All the parking was just like a horse field.
No. that was way before our time.
Well, so
Not
he made
that
the
old.
first move, pretty much.
Well, no, I just thought he was really cute. He's the one that called me, and he was like, "Hey, this is Blake. Remember I saw you with Christine?" And, "Oh yeah," and then we
Pretend like,
talking.
oh yeah, it was it. Yeah.
Pretending
like I know exactly who you are.
I think I remember seeing.
Yeah. Playing
I
it
was
cool.
sitting right across from you, staring at my plate because you were so cute that I couldn't.
Yeah, that's funny. Oh, that's so cute. Oh, my little heart is pitter pattering.
Oh hush.
So where were you born? Because I know you and Dad, you both moved around a ton until you guys met in Montana. So where were you born at?
I was born in California, Riverside, California. And then when I was in kindergarten, we moved to Townsend, Montana.
Yeah, and for you guys that don't know, Townsend, Montana is when you imagine what Montana's like, not ever being to Montana, that's pretty much what Townsend is.
Yeah.
Cattle, chickens, hogs, rednecks, suspenders, boots,
lots of
trucks.
ranches. And,
it's
everybody knows everybody. And,
it's the most Montana town that I know of.
Yeah.
In Montana,
So we lived there because my dad was running, and he worked for my grandfather, my mom's dad, and they decided they had a chicken ranch in California, but they wanted to start another one in Montana. So that's where the chicken ranch was. So my dad built the chicken ranch, or was in charge of building the chicken ranch, and that's where we lived until I was in 5th grade. And then Granddaddy lost the farm and the ranch in California because of disease, kind of like the bird flu is called Newcastle.
Yeah, they just go out and kill all of them, right, and leave.
So it was too big of a financial hit, so he moved back to Montana and kind of took over on the ranch, and then there just wasn't enough room for both of them.
And you worked
Dad
on the chicken ranch, right?
Yeah, in the summertime.
And what did you guys do? I remember hearing about this a couple times.
So every summer, so they had 60,000 chickens. I mean, it was a bajillion of them. And so you had to rotate them out because they would only keep them for they were only 100% productive for 2 years, I think. And then they would sell them to Campbell's Soup for soup because they don't have much meat on them because they're for production. So they would just so they just got the meat off.
Reminds me of chicken run. As soon as you can't produce enough eggs,
you go in the stew. And that's what happens. So, but in order to move them, you have to move them by hand. So you've got these big, long, skinny buildings. They're 2 stories. The chickens are in the top story in these cages, and then underneath is where all the poop falls.
Yeah.
So you go in there, and we would line, and they would just hire kids from Townsend. Yeah. People from Townsend. It was kind of like hoeing beans when you pick weeds out of the bean fields in Minnesota, which I did that too. So anyway, they would line you up every 6 or 8 feet, all down the row. So you've got chickens on both sides. And they're screaming and hollering and rock, and and there's dust going everywhere, and you can't hardly breathe. And anyway, so you reach in, you grab them by the legs, you yank them out. You got 2 in each hand, so they're upside down, flopping and squawking and puking on your feet, and and so you walk down the aisle and you hand them off to the person. And then you turn around, you go back, and you get, so it's like an assembly line. Yeah. And then the last person stuffs them into the cages on the truck. So it was the worst.
Was it have you seen Napoleon Dynamite?
Yeah.
Where they're working on the chicken farm.
I don't remember.
And they go to eat lunch, and they just have 2 slices of bread, and he just breaks an egg into the sandwich and hands it to him. And then the guy's sitting there drinking raw eggs out of a glass.
No.
And then he goes, "Oh, it's payday today. Forgot my checkbook."
It's kind of like that. I got paid, but I'm sure I got paid a pittance compared to probably.
Oh yeah, and that was
else,
what, in the 80s, 70s.
Let's see, 74 and 5 maybe.
Yeah, so I bet you the payback then was
and then from there we moved to Minnesota, which my dad worked for a corporation or company that they dried eggs for cake mixes and stuff, so he didn't have to deal with the chickens. But then from there we moved to Arizona, where he was once again running a chicken ranch in Arizona.
Yeah.
So every summer, I would recruit a bunch of my friends, and we would all work at the chicken ranch.
Destroy your
in
friendships.
Arizona. Yeah. So, and it was...
Don't hang out with Anna. She'll make you work on a chicken farm.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, this is motivation for us to go to college.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to grow up doing this all my life.
Yeah, no kidding. God.
So,
I feel like chicken... Well, I don't know. What would you think is like the worst livestock?
Oh, I
feel like it'd be hogs. Yeah. Like cattle, at least it's like big grassy fields.
Yeah.
If you're, I don't know. I guess there's probably some cattle farms that are gross, but
yeah.
I feel like chickens is bad too. I just hate birds. They stink so bad.
I think it's the smell. For me, when we lived in Minnesota, there's a lot of hog farms in Minnesota, and you'd get a whiff of those, and you just couldn't. Like, I still can smell the hog farms when I eat a pork chop.
The whole city smells like that, and nobody knows that it smells like that. Because did you know that when you smell things, it's not necessarily what you're smelling, it's the change of the smell.
The change of the smell.
So if it smelled like onions in this room, you stay in here for a few hours, you can't smell the onions anymore.
Right.
Because you're used to the smell.
Yeah.
But if suddenly you go out there and it smells like garlic, you can smell it because it's the change of the smell. It's not what you're smelling. So cities like, in North Dakota where it's hog farms and crap and stuff, they can't smell it anymore. It's the change of the smell.
Yeah.
Which
I
is
remember
bizarre.
in Minnesota, I had a friend who lived on a hog farm. Her dad was a hog farmer. And she smelled like hogs to me. And I went and stayed with her one time, and everything just smelled. They couldn't smell it, like you said.
Yeah.
But everything smelled and tasted and felt like hog. I couldn't wait to get out of there because it just was an awful smell.
Yeah,
but I'm sure chickens are the same for people too. I'm just used to that.
It's like cat
people. It brings back memories. Yeah.
Cat people are probably used to their house smelling like piss and cat poop. But that's funny. Yeah, that was always my funniest thing, is imagining you as a kid with screaming chickens freaking out and getting all over you.
Well, and I would have to go, I don't remember why, maybe looking for my dad or something. I would go through the chicken house. Mm-hmm. And the thing is there's a reason why people call you a chicken when you're scared, because chickens are so scared all the time. Mm-hmm. So as you start walking in, they start squawking, freaking, and then pretty soon chickens. All 20,000 are screaming and flying, and and they're
it's like one of them goes danger, and now I'm like danger.
Yeah, so they all start, and then you start hearing things like you hear Anna, and you're like, what? It's just like you
start hallucinating.
Freakiest. Yeah, it's freaky.
This is Jesus speaking.
You try to walk in slowly and quietly and not get anybody ruffled, but pretty soon one of the chickens turns around and sees you, and like you said, they start squawking.
They're coming to kill us.
Pretty soon it's like you can see them waking up as down the line like a wave.
I couldn't imagine, because I remember going into the chicken coop at the house and they're freaking out and running everywhere.
Yeah, and that's
like a whole warehouse of freaking chickens that are like mortified from living in their little cages and stuff. Yeah. So was that like your first job? What was your first job?
That was, that was my first job.
So it was like your first job not working with Grandpa, I guess.
My first job not working with my dad would have been in Minnesota hoeing beans.
What is hoeing beans? Where you're like, you want this bean?
No, I knew you were going to say that.
You're going to hoe this bean out? You're pimping beans?
So that's what they called it, but it was all soybean fields there. Mm-hmm. But they would have to rotate crops. So you'd have to go through, they would hire usually teenagers to go through with a hoe, and you have to go through and chop out anything that's not beans. So sometimes corn would be coming up because it used to be a cornfield. Yeah. Most of the time it was like milkweed and thistle and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But you had to go through and hand weed them, because I don't know why they either didn't spray for them.
That's right. Cheaper to hire
weeds.
Children to do
Yeah,
it.
yeah, probably. Or maybe the weeds didn't respond to the spray, or didn't get sprayed
Something
well.
weird. Or they didn't want the spray on the beans.
Yeah,
because they cared about health back then.
Yeah,
kind of.
so maybe, So, they would just put a bunch of it. We'd get in the back of a truck and go down a dirt road, and they'd drop us off, and we'd pull weeds all the way down to the end, and then we'd move over and come all the way back, and then at noon they would come and bring us lunch, and it was like,
it sounds horrible.
it was it was pretty awful. I got a really good tan, I had good strong muscles, and I thought I was making a lot of money, but I think I was only making like $2 an hour or something, or maybe $5 an hour. I don't know. It seemed like a lot to me.
Like a nickel raise was like,
I'm
gonna buy a $10,000 house.
Yeah. I probably got paid under the. Well, no, I don't think we got paid under the table, because that's when I first got my Social Security number. So.
Well, you didn't get your Social Security number until.
You didn't get one. You guys got them as soon as you were born. They give you one.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't remember receiving my Social Security card. I just remember having it.
Yeah, you were born
given
with
to
it.
me when, so back then.
Back then you didn't get one until you got a job, because there was no need to have one.
Yeah.
Until you were paying taxes. Well, now they use it for an ID, so you get one when you're born.
That's wild. I never even thought of that.
Yeah.
Mine is beat up. It is bad.
Yeah,
I had it in my wallet forever because I always need it.
Yeah.
And they won't let you laminate it, so it's just like, here's a piece of government documentation of who you are on a number, and if you try to make it last longer than it should, then we will not accept it. Like, it's the dumbest thing ever. It's like, here's an egg, and you got to hold it in your pocket all the time, and if you break it, we're gonna make you pay for it.
You're gonna have to go through loops.
Yeah, it makes no sense. Yeah. And then you worked at a dental office in Bozeman, right? You worked for Dr. Klein.
I worked for a dentist, and
you were like a front desk chick, or what?
Yeah, it was front desk, and it was funny because it was a combined office. So there was a dentist who owned the whole building, and then he rented the back office to a podiatrist.
What's a podiatrist?
A foot doctor.
Oh. Yeah.
But I didn't know there was a podiatrist when I started working there.
Yeah.
But I did all the scheduled all the appointments and everything, checked people in and all that, took their insurance information and all that. So people would kept calling and saying, and this is all, I want to get an appointment with Dr. So-and-so. And I thought he was a dentist. I didn't know any better. And they were saying, well, this is a workman's comp. This will be work comp. And I'm thinking, all these people are calling for dental appointments for work. What are they doing?
Yeah, I dropped a hammer on my face.
Yeah, what are they? I had no idea. And then all of a sudden I realized, oh, wait. He's not a dentist. He's back there trimming old people's toenails.
God, I got an ingrown toenail on my face. Yeah. Jeez.
So, it was just a couple weeks before I figured it out.
Yeah.
It was embarrassing.
So those were the easy questions.
Oh, now there's hard questions coming up. So, isn't it?
It's not a hard question. It's a funny question.
Okay.
Well, I'm gonna record as long as we can, and then just cut out whatever.
Well, I'll just quit talking.
Yeah. So at least 40 minutes. No, you're not gonna quit talking. You can't quit talking. But let's see. Let me think a better one. So.
Oh dear.
Remember when I got my first tattoo?
Yeah, I remember.
How did you find out that I was getting that tattoo? Because I specifically remember making the appointment and telling nobody except for like the closest friends and the girl I was dating at the time.
I can't remember.
And so I remember being at the shop, and they put the stencil on, and he's about halfway through, and then you just come bombing through the door, crying.
I wasn't crying.
You were like, you could see it in your eyes.
Somber. I was sad.
I remember the second tattoo more than the first one, because you also came in on the second one. Also, no idea how you figured out I was getting the tattoo. So it was the elk antler tattoo.
I'm a mom.
And I had one done already, and he was just starting the other one. And she came in, and she was like, no, I like that one, but don't get another one. If you get another one on your other arm, it'd be tacky, and no one wants that. And my tattoo artist was like some super duper Russian, like straight out of Russian dude.
Yeah.
He's like, "Who is this?" And that's my mom. She's like, "What? Is she here again? Why is she crying? She doesn't like tattoos?" I was like, "Obviously not." And she's like, "Well, she can't come in here crying all the time." I was like, "I know. I don't know how she found out. I didn't tell anybody."
I don't even remember how I found out.
I don't either. Yeah.
It's just mom
Instinct.
intuition.
Yeah, it was funny because you showed up right at the appointment. It's not like you...
Oh, hang on a second.
Okay. Yeah, we can cut this out too. Yeah,
That's
I always
my
thought that
alarm
was
to go
funny.
close up the chickens.
So you got 5 kids.
I do.
Who was the worst child? Like growing up, toddler, just like worse in general, like the most strenuous, difficult one. Well, let's start out with who was the best one. Who was like the most easy to get along with all the way through like the toddler years, teenage years, like easiest to work with?
Well, it's hard because some of you guys were hard as babies and easy as toddlers and then hard as...
Yeah, like different stages.
Yeah. So, infant-wise, Erin was the hardest because she was born screaming and she screamed for the first 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So she was the hardest baby.
Yeah, I feel like we can still see that when she gets mad.
Yeah, she still does that.
When she gets mad, she gets
Yeah.
very vocal.
And she was kind of hard as a teenager and as a new mom and
Okay,
she was but she
Erin
was
sucks.
no, she was just a complicated person.
Yeah. Well, and she was a little sister, and
yeah,
Ryan
she
was
needed more attention because Ryan was I guess I would say probably Ryan was the easiest, and maybe it was because she was a girl and she was the oldest.
Yeah.
And she got me all to herself for the first 2 years.
Yeah.
And then the rest of you came
and
along.
she was like the girl of the family
and I feel
until
like,
Erin came along.
Yeah, and I feel like the oldest is always a little easier because they follow the rules and they have more.
No.
They don't have.
And then the second oldest.
And then, and I was gonna say you might have been the hardest.
Yeah, in my older years.
Yes.
I guess.
As a being the first boy after having an easy girl, like Ryan would just sit in the corner and play with the dust balls. I mean, she was easy. You were climbing the curtains and you'd walk by the coffee table and just sweep it off and keep walking just to see how things would fall. And you I found you in the middle of the middle of the dining room table up to your elbows in the sugar bowl. Just, you would climbed things that Ryan would never do because I said no, and that was it. I didn't have to say again.
25 years later, I'm climbing 300-foot cell phone towers.
Yeah, so you've always been a climber.
Yeah.
So I guess I think for me, you might have been the hardest off and on just because you were the first boy. Yeah. And girls are, I think girls are easier when they're younger.
Yeah.
But then as you guys all got older, I think the girls are harder because they're more emotional. And they'll tell you to your face that they hate you and that kind of stuff.
And that never ends.
You guys just snuck around all the time and I didn't know what you were doing.
Yeah, it's silence.
So, so the boys were easier older.
Yeah.
Girls were easier younger.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that makes sense for sure. Let's see what else we got. What was like the most embarrassing thing that ever happened in public with us kids? Like temper tantrum, something we said to somebody. I remember one time I think it happened Tuesday. I was with Grammy. We were in Arizona. And there was a fat kid at the playground. I said, "Grandma, that kid's fat."
Yeah.
And she about beat the snot out of me.
You were good at that. I remember one time we went to McDonald's, and we didn't go to McDonald's that often, but I think it was just you and me maybe, and that's why we were there. Maybe you and me and whatever baby I had at the time. Mm-hmm. And we were standing at the counter to order, and there was a black guy standing at the cash register next to us. Yeah. And so I'm waiting to make my order, and I'm looking at you, and you're looking at him, and you're just standing there looking at him, and I'm going,
shut up.
And I kept saying, what do you want, honey? What do you want? And I kept pulling you over.
Stop looking at him.
And you said, I told you, Mommy, I want a Happy Meal. And then you looked up at him again, and you kept looking at him, and I kept thinking, come on. And finally you reach over and you pull on me and you go, Mommy. And I was like, oh, here it comes. He goes, look at that chocolate man.
I do remember that, yeah. So anybody doesn't know, Montana, especially back in the 90s, there was only white people because it's cold, and only white people are crazy enough to live in such a cold, snowy place. And it was like, even in high school, we had like 2.5 black kids. We had like 2 black kids and like a half black kid, and all of them were from Montana, so they were like the whitest black kids ever. So for me as a child, to see a black person was not a normal thing.
It was the first time you'd ever seen somebody.
Exactly.
So I knew it was coming. And he just kind of smiled, and he understood.
Yeah, he's like, I'm in Montana.
Yeah. And I just kind of looked at him and kind of apologized with my eyes, but I was so devastated and mortified that I didn't open my mouth because I was afraid I would say something stupid. So I just kind of looked at him and went like this, and he smiled and nodded his head at me, and it was fine.
Yeah, that's funny.
And
what was the story about the guy that walked up to the car while we were sitting in it?
So I think I left
That's one of my favorite
I think
ones.
I left.
It was me and Aaron and Ryan.
Yeah, so I left Ryan in there because she was the oldest.
Yeah.
And Lane was the youngest, so he was probably 2, maybe 3, because he was sort of talking. So that would make Ryan, 12 or 13. Anyway, I left everybody in the car, windows down, ran in to get something in the grocery store, like just a jug of milk or drop something off or something. And this guy, there was a car parked next to our car. The windows are all down, of course. He walks up to get in his car, and he kind of, I guess he looked, I mean, this is all what you guys told me. He looked, I think Grammy might have been in the front seat. That's why I left you all in it, because Grammy was sitting in the front seat, I think.
Yes.
Because she So he looked over to see all these kids sitting in this Suburban, and probably was looking to make sure there was an adult in there with them. And Lane is sitting right there in his car seat by the window, and he looks over, and the guy's looking at him, and he goes, "Hello, ugly man."
Hello, ugly man.
Ugly man. And he just turned around and got his car. So, and of course, my mom was dying in the front seat.
That's funny. So. Here's a little more difficult question.
Oh, no. I can't.
So what was your favorite weapon to use on us when you were spanking us? And why is it the hot glue gun stick?
No, it's not the hot glue gun stick.
So let me tell you the story.
Oh, no.
So when I was a child...
I'll tell you if you're telling it right or not.
Yeah, let me tell my version, and then you can tell your version. So my mom used to spank us with spatulas, wooden spoons, paddles, like the ping pong paddles with the rubber ball on it. We'd always use them, and the rubber band would snap, and then it became, a spanking weapon. Dad's favorite weapon was the belt. But so I used to hide all the spoons and spatulas so that she couldn't spank us with them. So I did something to make her mad, and she grabbed.
That's not how it went down.
She grabbed a hot glue gun stick, and with a smile on her face.
No.
She's wasted.
No.
She's been drinking all day, like she does, living off of Daddy's dollar, and. She said, "Today's the day."
No, I did not. That's not how it works.
You're about to meet Jesus.
No, this is not how it happened.
She grabbed me by my hair and just beat my legs.
No, I didn't.
The hot glue stick.
I did not.
And as I crying on the floor.
No. This is.
She took another shot at Jim Beam. And then
I usually used my hand because that was the closest thing. But then I had heard that it's not good to spank your child with your hand because your hand
isn't hard enough.
Because your hand is because your hand is what you love them with. So you don't want it to be that personal. So Then I started.
We didn't know any better. We just felt pain. I
So
don't care if
then
you
I
hit
started,
me with
and
a
it's not like
2x4.
I got spanked you guys very often either.
No,
so
you waited
put
till
that
Dad
in there.
got home.
No, Dad never spanked you guys.
Oh,
He
whatever.
just scared you. He didn't spank you.
Something to tell
So
it
I decided to start.
Fake
I
news,
started
but
using stir sticks that you use for 5-gallon paint buckets. Not
Yeah.
the little ones would break, but the bigger ones were a little thicker and they worked better.
Yeah, put some nails in it.
And then, so, and I hardly ever spanked you. Well, you got spanked a lot because you were my favorite.
And the oldest child. You saw the
but-
damage it did to me.
Yeah. Sometimes I wonder.
It's
But
funny
anyway,
stuff,
that's
you
not
know.
what happened. But
We
anyway,
get a stir
so
stick tattoo right
somebody
here.
had said it works good to use those long glue sticks because they're flexible, and so they're not. I don't remember what the.
Whoever told you that
Yeah,
hates
I don't.
children
I don't
because
remember.
it's
Yeah.
a terrible
Well, see,
idea.
so I was thinking it wouldn't hurt as bad, or it wouldn't be as bad because it wasn't hard like a stick.
Yeah.
And so I thought, okay, well, I have one of those. And so the next time, like 10 minutes later, that you did something you needed a spanking for, I grabbed that and I hit you one time on the butt. And I could tell when I hit you that it was too much.
Because it's like a whip. It
It was
bends
awful.
around, and then the end of it is going 10 times faster.
It
when you're
wasn't
swinging
that bad, but it was. It didn't feel right, and I felt. I think I cried more than you did, and that's the only time I ever hit you with that.
And then I had to wear pants to
No,
school.
that's
so that they
you
couldn't
always
see
wear
the
pants to
bruises.
school. No, that's not true. I hit you on the butt. I never hit you on the legs.
I think your story might be more accurate, but mine's more fun to tell.
Yeah. I'm glad I was here to correct you. And I never used it again,
No, you didn't.
except for as a glue stick.
Just, if you can remember, you can take a second. One was like the most angry or like disappointed you had ever been with me ever. I'm pretty sure I know what it is, but I just want to hear it from
As
your
a
end.
kid or as an adult?
Anytime, any timeline, any of them. Most disappointed, upset, pissed off, like just like he's a bad kid kind of feel.
I never
Not
thought
a bad
you were-
kid,
yeah,
but like
I never thought you were a
like
bad.
concerned, like this,
Just that you sometimes made bad decisions.
Yeah.
Well, I think I know what you're thinking. But and that was more like, I don't know how I felt. I'm not good with my words and saying how I feel, but you're talking about when you got a DUI, right?
No.
No? Okay. What was the other one?
No, you tell me yours. Was it the DUI?
No, because I thought that's what you were thinking. So
No.
I said that wasn't my...
Well, that's a good story
I was
too.
really
though.
heartbroken.
Yeah. Yeah, but it
and
wasn't like a
disappointed.
disappointed. It was like a
But it was
more
it
of a
was more
sad
like this,
than a like
yeah,
a.
because you were an adult.
No, I'm talking about like I want to strangle you. Like, what's the other one?
I
It
try
was
to block
before
these things
that.
out.
It was when I was 20,
20.
and you guys were out of town.
Oh, yeah, that's it. That's it. See, I try to.
Is
block
that it? Is that
that's
the one?
I try to block those kind of
Yeah,
things
through
out.
that massive legendary house party at the house.
Yeah.
So I had this. I was 20 years old. It was like August, about this time of year, and they were out of town for a week, and I had just started drinking because I just got out of Bible college, and so I was trying to fight my
Impress
demons
people.
with making people like me, and threw a huge house party, and surprisingly, not a lot of stuff got besides my car. None of your stuff got broken. It was basically like you had sticky floors and there was ping pong balls all over the house for months that we would find them. But through a massive house party, big enough to where people were like, people were talking about it forever. Like that was the end of the summer finale house party, hundreds of people there. We had everything from like it sounds weird now that I'm old, but we had everywhere from like high school kids to like college football players at this house party. That was probably the only time that there was black people in our house ever.
That's not true.
Well, besides
Lane
Kyle and the twins.
Yeah.
Kyle and
Lane had
whatever.
friends that were...
But that was the first time. And the only really bad thing that happened was this kid whipped out of my...
In your opinion.
In my opinion, the worst thing that happened is this kid whipped out of the driveway, smoked my car, crushed a bunch of trees, and then took off, which I ended up making his dad pay for. And other than that, nothing got stolen, nothing got broken. It was just like sticky floors from the alcohol, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I remember when you found out, because I almost got away with it.
No, he didn't.
Except I felt like I almost got away with it.
I don't know.
It was what gave it away, the sticky floors and the ping pong balls? Or was it my really crappy story where I said someone hit my car and did a hit and run in the parking lot at work?
That was it.
Yeah, okay. So, but
yeah, when you called and said...
Second most disappointing thing was the DUI. And I remember it was actually like one of the most surreal, like, crappy moments in my life, because I remember when we played baseball, the baseball fields are right next to the jail, and I remember driving by there, my dad all the time was like, that's where all the bad people go. So then when I got my DUI and they were taking me in the back of the squad car to the jail, in my head I was like, this is where all the bad people go. And I was like, when I get nervous or scared or I'm getting in trouble, I'll smile. And I remember sitting in the back of the cop car smiling, but then I had tears rolling down my eyes. Like, this is where the bad people go. I was also wasted. So, and then I was I told her before I told my dad, because I know my dad would get pissed. And we went to Wendy's by the high school. And I called you. I was like, hey, do you want to get lunch? And you're all excited because, you know, especially back then, I didn't want to hang out very often.
No.
So you're all pumped. So we got at Wendy's, got our food. We were sitting there. I was like, so something happened, and it was something that you told me not to do for the longest time, and it happened. And do you remember the first thing you thought it was? You said, did you get somebody pregnant?
Did I?
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, no, you got someone pregnant. And I was like, no, it's not that bad. Like, it's no, it's not that. I got a DUI. And then you're like, oh my gosh. Yeah. And super. It's funny now, but it wasn't funny back then. It's
funny now. I still
and then when I told my dad, and we'll ask him too what he thought. When I told my dad, actually it was a lot less than I thought. I thought he was going to chew me out, and he's just like, I told you that would happen. Yeah. I told you, I'm not going to help you. Help yourself. And then he ended up helping anyway, but yeah, pretty funny.
No.
Not funny,
not
but
funny.
Looking back. Yeah. So last question, and then we'll wrap this up. And you can take time to think about it. What's like the craziest thing you've ever seen, or anything that you've ever done? Like something that was like mind blowing, or just affected you as a person, or just something, you're a pretty tame person. You don't do anything very crazy, at least that I've seen. But what's like the craziest thing you've ever done, or the craziest thing you witnessed, whether it's like a super awesome concert you went to, or a crazy event that happened, like fights or something like that, or something risky like you did that was illegal, like ran from the cops, like anything like that.
I don't think I ever really did anything too crazy.
All right. What about?
Because I've always been kind of a rule follower.
Yeah, I know.
And so
and
for
Dad
me,
was
crazy would be like taking ketchup packets from McDonald's or something. I didn't do crazy because I just wouldn't do that.
What about? I have a backup question because I figured this is how this would go.
Because you know how boring I am.
So, what was like your biggest? I know. Did you go to a lot of concerts back in like the best concerts ever were like 70s, 80s?
Yeah.
Like AC/DC, Queen, Foreigner, stuff like that. I know that you weren't into that kind of stuff. I know you like Neil Diamond. Did you go to like any cool concerts or like any crazy 70s, 80s giant events that happened that you remember?
Not really. I mean, in college, I went to Bryan Adams. Nobody knows who he is. And I went to a not Foreigner. See, I don't even remember because I wasn't really into rock that much until.
Yeah, because your side of the family is very reserved, conservative Christian, and Dad's was a little more wilder-ish.
Yeah, he went to every concert ever.
Yeah, and I'm going to ask him a bunch of questions
2 or 3
about
times.
that.
But I mean, for me, what's her name? See, now I'm drawing a blank. I went to classical, like symphony type orchestra type concerts in the same venue where Daddy went to AC/DC and all those.
Yeah.
And then country, I went to a few country concerts and stuff, but I mostly just didn't go to concerts that much.
Yeah.
I think the most memorable trip from when I was young, or thing that from when I was younger, was when I graduated from high school. I went to France with my aunt who was from France, Aunt Janine.
Yeah, Janine. Yeah.
And so I was there for almost a month, I think. And so I got to live in a house in France with the French family, with her family. And so we went to the grocery store and
Is it true that the French don't shave their legs and their armpits and stuff?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we went to see the Castle of Versailles, which is where Napoleon, not Dynamite, but Napoleon was.
I was going to say Bonaparte. I don't even know who Napoleon Bonaparte is.
I think that's it. I don't know. Yeah, I think that's it. Anyway, so the tour guide was telling us about this and that and the other. She's real pretty, had a skirt on and like a tank top and everything. And over here, and she went like this, and I went, oh!
Just sweaty, nappy armpit hair.
She had hairy armpits, and I just kind of went, and so then immediately I looked at her legs because I just realized that. And then I remember like when we were in Paris and we were at a cafe, this girl walked by and I thought, oh, she's pretty, and she had real long legs and short shorts and pretty top and dark hair and dark hairy legs. And I noticed her legs. I thought,
that's probably why the French are known as cowards, because they had nothing to fight for except for hairy, burly women. Ugh.
No, there's a lot of pretty women there, though.
Yeah, pretty hairy.
It just wasn't a thing. Yeah. So, but that was a neat experience because we got to see I got to see it from both sides, not just as a tourist.
Yeah, you got to live with them.
Yeah.
Kind of deal.
Yeah.
I was thinking about reading it. Because this is also where I put my bits for stand-up jokes, but I'm trying to think of something that's not going to offend you. No, nothing appropriate for you. But let's see. We'll cut out all the. Oh, we're gonna go through the pictures.
Oh.
Okay, so I asked beforehand. I asked my mom, my dad, lots of aunts and uncles for pictures. The only people that sent pictures was you, and that was it.
Oh, really?
And then I asked Uncle Lee for some questions or something to bring up in the podcast for Dad, and he was the only one that brought stuff up. I text Aunt Dee, I text Uncle Sean, everybody else, and Uncle Lee is the only one. For some reason, me and Uncle Lee have like a bond like nobody else has. I love Uncle Lee.
Yeah.
But let's go through some of these photos. I don't remember how to get to the photos. Okay, so I'm going to show you a photo, and then you're going to tell me, like, do you remember that picture and why and what was part of it? So there's this picture. It's, I'll show the picture on the podcast so everyone can see what you're seeing. So who's that?
So that's our dog Milo.
I remember Milo.
He was our first child.
I remember when I used to just cry that I miss Milo, even though it had been years since he died.
Remember him? Yeah. He was our first dog.
And where was that at?
That was in our first, when we moved back to Montana, because we got married in Montana, then we moved to Little Rock, and then to Tennessee, and then Little Rock. Tennessee and then Little Rock. And then came back, and that's the first place we lived when we came back. It was a little house. This was right across from the Hofbrau. There's a hotel there now. But it was a little house right across from where the Hofbrau is on Mendenhall there.
Yeah, I know.
It was a one-bedroom house with a scary hand-dug dirt basement that I swear there was dead bodies down there. I never went down there. Scared me to death. But anyway, I was pregnant. So that was with Ryan.
Ryan, okay.
Yeah. So that was like my first...
Look at you.
I think that was like my first pregnancy picture or something.
The lady mullet going
on.
Fiery. You got a, whatever that is.
The mullet and a little
rainbow bow tie before the gays stole the rainbow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is the next one. This is a little more recent. This was probably like only a few years ago.
That was just a few years ago when we went down there with Grandma and Grandpa. I think that was before we got.
And that's like the big rocking chair that we've took pictures at for decades.
Yeah, in Beaver, Utah, which is basically, Beaver's not even on the interstate. It's kind of off the interstate. But at that exit where Beaver, Utah is going south, there's a gas station up on the hill, and they have a Dairy Queen, and then they have this giant rocking chair. And we always went through there on our way to Lake Havasu for spring break. And we would always take pictures of all the kids on this giant rocking chair.
I wish we could find like every single picture I've ever taken
I was just
on
thinking
that. It would probably be
that.
like 30 pictures because we used to go to Lake Havasu like 5 times a year.
So we had to stop and pose on that. So
there's that one.
That one was, I think that's you when you were first born.
Looks like me.
Does it?
Yeah. Good looking.
Can't remember. It could be. Well, what color is the hat? Maybe it was Ryan.
White.
Is it white or pink? Yeah. It's either you or Ryan, because judging by how young Daddy is.
Oh, it's definitely
it was
me.
You, because there's Ryan.
There's Punky Doo. There's you with your super
mullet.
dope mullet. You look like Gene Simmons mullet.
No, it was, who's the lead singer for Journey?
I have no idea.
Perry.
It's like John Perry.
John Perry. Yeah, that's what that
was the style. That was how you got the dudes back in the day. Look at Dad with his jet black hair. Mm-hmm. He had like way darker hair than any of us did.
He had really dark hair.
So there's that. That's like the most hardest smile I've ever seen. When you first sent me this picture, I was like, I've never seen Dad smile that hard ever.
That's not true.
So, that was the hardest smile I ever had, and then from then it just got worse.
Oh, stop.
Look, you're so pretty.
Oh, thanks.
His big, beautiful dress.
Yeah.
And his
his white tuxedo.
Was this 90s or late 80s?
No, it was 90s. It was 86.
86, yeah. That's funny.
So that
I've never seen
white tuxedos.
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah. I like it. And where was that at? That
was at Grace Bible Church.
Yeah, that was Dave Edwards.
Yeah, and it's a parking lot now. Or no, they knocked it down. They built a new church. But that was Dave Edwards was the pastor. Not of that church, but he's the one that married us. We just borrowed the church.
Who's this guy?
That's Uncle Chuck.
That's Uncle Chuck?
I think so.
Oh, man, he looks so tall.
No, I think he's sitting down. Oh, no, he's standing up. Yeah.
And there you guys are again. Very beautiful. And his beautiful long hair. So I showed Lily this picture, and she's just smiling at me. I was like, "What?" And she's like,
"It's just like you.
Your dad's hot."
Yeah.
I was like, "Okay."
He's certainly. I told you he was cute.
I know. Yeah. She's like, "Your dad's hot," and that's not the first girl that's told me that, because I've showed other, girlfriends or girls I was talking to, show them pictures, and they've always said, like, Dad's hot. And I'm like, yeah. And then they tell me, like, I look just like my dad. I'm like, yeah, I do. So, I remember this story. Do you remember this?
I just remember that Daddy gave me flowers, right?
Yeah, so...
And I was really surprised.
Yes.
He surprised me.
So, we all went... It was me and Ryan and Cole. We went with Dad, and he's like, don't tell Mom I'm getting this, because, she thinks I forgot. I don't remember if it was Valentine's Day, anniversary, something like that.
Yeah.
But we all came home, and you had an attitude.
Oh.
Because he was being annoying, like he is.
Yeah.
Like I do the same thing.
Pushing my buttons.
Yeah, pushing your buttons, and we knew that you were mad because you thought that he forgot about whatever this was. Anniversary, I think, is what it was.
Yeah.
Pretending like we had no idea, and I think you were doing something like, like hinting like it's a special day, and he's like, yeah, it's football day. He does.
Yeah.
And then one of us put all this on the stove while you were like pissed, like you were on your edge of freaking out. And then as soon as you found it, and you were just like, what is this? Like you were so mad that you didn't even put together.
Comprehend what it was.
You're like, what is this? And then you were so surprised, and then he snapped a picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. And then that.
Yeah, that's in Canada. We went up to Waterton to meet some friends of his from when they lived in Germany when his dad was in the Air Force. And
He's got the high-waisted mom jeans.
Yep.
That was cool.
And I've got the high-waisted mom jeans, and I was about 3 or 4 months pregnant with you.
I was going to say, there's a third person in this picture, apparently.
Yes. And we took Ryan with us too, but she must have been.
You had her taking the picture.
Yeah, she was taking the picture.
And then there's that one.
I hate that picture. I mean,
Why?
I love it. I love it because it has all my kids, and that's the only professional picture we ever had taken.
You breed blind children, apparently.
But it's like you guys are so far back there that you're tiny little floating heads.
Yeah.
And then I'm like this giant. My head is like 6 times bigger than everybody else's.
Yeah, big giant.
Because I'm up front.
Yeah.
So it was like a JCPenney's photo.
Yeah.
So it was an awful picture, but it's...
Yeah, but it's like all of us are
kids.
actually smiling, which is bizarre.
It's the only professional photo we ever had taken.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I was like, why does your guys' heads look so huge?
Yeah, so you guys were way behind us.
Like Lane's got the third biggest head, and he's the baby.
He's the baby, I know. So it was an awful... But I'm sure the photographer was like, how in the world am I going to get 6 people... All these people.
7 people.
7 people. I guess there's 7 of us in this picture. So she did the best she could.
Perfect. Well, I think we'll call it there.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Was it as bad as you thought it would be?
No, because I'm a yacker.
A little easy. Yeah, exactly. Yakking. It's a little easier. It's not like I'm going to grill you with questions and stuff like that. But, everybody that, I kept advertising for these episodes, and everybody was super excited, and they were excited to see you guys. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I'm glad we finally did it. I know we were supposed to do it during Andrea's wedding, but I was too occupied.
Well, and it was raining really hard.
Yeah, and we were kind of out in the boonies and stuff. We moved to
well, give me a hug.
So
I have it on record.
There we go. Yeah.
Thank you for
You saw it here first.
Thank you for being nice
I'm a mother lover.
Thank you for being nice to me.
Absolutely. I was going to be easy on you.
And for the record, I didn't think that party or the DUI were funny. I'm still devastated.
Well, now I just party on my own.
I love you.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I have no friends, and I don't party at all, ever.
The consequences of your...
My best friends are the cats, and I hate both of them, so that's cool. But, all right. Well, thank you, everybody. Thanks for joining the podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed it with my beautiful mother. You can find us on Spotify, Patreon, YouTube, Cockles of the Heart. Just search it. You'll find it. Email me at cocklespodcast.com or cocklespodcast@gmail.com for any questions, comments, anything like that. Bring it up in here. And like I said before, if you guys have any decorations or anything you want me to add to the table or the wall behind me, let me know. If you're not a psychopath looking person, I'll give you the address so you can send it over and we can add it, and I'll give you a shout out for it. So thank you guys very much, and have a great week.